Analysis machine. Ready?
Ready and waiting.
Get me file 8.
Understood. Loading title card.
For an anime with such a big premises focused on 3 and 4-man teams of ninja, we actually see precious few instances of this being utilized to the fullest. You'd think it'd be a no-brainer to use superior numbers to jump a ninja, and though we do get some pretty sweet moments of legendary team-ups, by and large, particularly in combat, most people choose to take the DBZ strategy of fighting an opponent one at a time. Taking a closer look at these teams frequently reveals high levels of dysfunction, so it's no surprise that there are several gaps in cooperation. But there is one team that stands as a paragon among the ninja teams in Naruto. Hey guys, this is D Reaper, and today we're going to explain why Team 10 is the best team in Naruto. We've got a lot to cover, so let's go ahead and jump right into it. Now, to make it clear, when we say best, we're not claiming Team 10 as the most powerful team. Obviously that crown will go to Team 7, as symbolically indicated in the last arc of the series. And speaking of Team 7, we will use them a lot for reference, but this is not a comparison video. From our criteria, Team 7 stands no chance against Team 10, but because they are the team we get the most information about, it just makes the most sense. So if we're not categorizing strength, what factors are we analyzing? Well, for starters, let's talk about personality and thinking patterns. In Team 7, Naruto is boisterous, Sasuke is a lone wolf, and Sakura is naive. Naruto and Sasuke are in almost constant conflict, and Sakura barely thinks things through, in spite of being canonically smarter than the both of them. You can see their personalities clash constantly, which persists all the way up to Shippuden, with one of the greatest examples of their dysfunction showing up in the Chunin exams. More on that later. But let's take a quick look at Team 10. Ino's the most assertive person in the group. Shikamaru takes the path of least resistance, and Choji is a go-with-the-flow kind of guy. Because of their compliant personalities, the two boys have no problem letting Ino call the shots. Because of this, they can make decisions quickly and pivot effectively when things don't go according to plan. And once again, this is reflected beautifully during the Chunin exams, so let's go ahead and discuss it, as we observe the team's strategy and rationale. Starting with Team 7. I'm going to reference a video done by Kona, host of The Dream, called Team 7 Didn't Belong to the Chunin exams. That video came out while we were making this one, so that'll give you an idea of just how much time a lot of these videos spend in the oven. But he did make some really great points, most of which I agree with. But since we won't be talking about any of them in a lot of detail here, I'll have the analysis machine leave a link to that video, somewhere around here. First of all, Team 7 goes into the exam arrogant, with both Sasuke and Naruto way too confident that they can handle anything the exam might throw at them, with Sakura also believing these two will be more than enough to clinch the win. As for their plan, what plan? They just kind of charge in and let the exam happen to them. And it's true, Team 7 went through a lot more than most other participants, with Orochimaru attacking them and all. But even in the calmer moments, you can see that they were still well out of sync with each other, like when Naruto and Sakura agreed to open the forbidden scroll they were given without consulting Sasuke. Now contrast that with the behavior we see from the other teams. Team Guy's strategy started before the exam even began, which was smart. They would hide their strength by pretending to be a lot weaker than they actually were. In the forest, they would scout out potential targets in secret, and meet at a designated area at a specific time to share their gathered intel and move accordingly. Kurenai's team hit their target hard and fast, then used Hinata's visual prowess to avoid any conflict all the way to the goal. Even the Sand Sibling strategy of waiting out in the open to make it easy for them to be attacked is a viable strategy. In Team 7, the only one who tried to strategize was Sasuke. At the very least, he came up with a strategy to identify each other if they were separated, based specifically on his teammates' personalities. And during Orochimaru's attack, he was the only one who prioritized the team's safety, as he recognized in the face of certain death, something as trivial as an exam score is not a priority. Even if they lost their scroll, it wouldn't mean they automatically failed the exam, while on the other hand, Orochimaru's murderous intent was palpable. And really, the only reason they walked away with their lives is because Orochimaru was getting off on it. But unfortunately, Sasuke was not able to get the other two on his program, and they ended up bickering amongst themselves, even in this crisis scenario. Even after Orochimaru beats both Naruto and Sasuke senseless, and is about to dip, Sakura is still calling him names and antagonizing him. This was content in our character analysis on Sakura, which is a terrible survival strategy, especially when dealing with a lunatic. Alright, now that we have a decent idea of how not to handle a crisis, let's talk about Team 10. So Team 10 has a similar strategy to Team Guy, except for very different reasons. Team 10 wants to keep a low profile, not to surprise people with their strength, but as a calculated deduction that they are likely one of the weakest teams taking the exam. And though it might be humbling, when considering that the Rookie 9 are very recent graduates from the academy, it's a pretty base assumption. Most of the other participants are much older. Some of them have taken the exam multiple times. Acknowledging that the others likely have more experience working as a unit and experience as a ninja in general is a smart way to calculate their status. But cautious or no, they still have to retrieve the scroll. So how do they plan on doing that? Instead of fighting their opponent head on, the plan is for Ino to distract the opponent by flirting with them, then have the two boys sneak in and grab the scroll and then run away. Shikamaru and Choji go along with the plan, though they are a bit skeptical, primarily because they're doubtful of Ino's seduction capabilities. But even with a plan based more on deception than brute force, they acknowledge that they will have to target a weak team if they want any chance of success. Unfortunately, they're spotted by none other than Neji, one of the most capable participants in the exam. They try the plan even knowing that they're operating at a deficit, but as expected, it fails miserably. Neji then dismisses the group, saying that they're so embarrassingly weak, he can't risk going after their scroll, for the off chance someone finds out where the scroll came from and believes he took their scroll out of necessity. Obviously, he just burned them pretty hard. And worse, he was completely serious about it. Those were definitely fighting words. So how does Team 10 react? Do they A. clap back, B. fight him for the sake of their sane pride, or C. make up an excuse on why it isn't the best time to fight? Well, they're actually gonna go with none of the above. They thank the man for his generosity and dip. There's absolutely no shame in their game. And notice, once again, they're all on the same wavelength. There is a lot less risk in this situation than what happened with Team 7, fighting Orochimaru, meaning this situation would probably be more tempting to stay and fight. And honestly, I think a lot of people would. I'm fairly certain Kiba wouldn't be able to just walk away after being insulted like that, and Naruto and Sasuke would definitely not take that kind of disrespect lying down. But Team 10 recognizes that pride will not pass the exam for them, and leave despite the humiliation, as Ino tries to laugh the whole thing off and reminds them that they'll need to find weaklings.
Alright! Let's see if we can find some weaklings!
But what happens when Team 10 does face a crisis scenario? Are they such weak cowards that they'll just run and hide? Not so much. We see that they are more than capable when the group witnesses Team 7 and Lee being attacked by the Sound Ninja. The brutality seems excessive, and though they could just as easily walk away, as it doesn't necessarily concern them, they do as a group decide to intervene, even if it's gonna be a drag. And when they do, we see that they have a lot more tricks up their sleeves than a half-baked seduction strategy. Even this early in the series, Team 10 has multiple formation strategies, one of the main ones being having Choji up front to get the enemy's attention, while Ino and Shikamaru use their various jutsu to subdue the enemy, based on the situation. In this scenario, Ino is able to take over the body of one of their enemy ninja, and under the threat of her forcing their teammate to cancel their life subscription, she urges them to back off. And if you don't know exactly how the mind transfer jutsu works, which should be at least 90% of the people in the Naruto world, this would typically be checkmate. And the only reason it doesn't work here is because these are Orochimaru's goons, and they're pretty nonchalant about one of their teammates being killed off. And as the series goes on and their formations mature, we see Team 10 truly embodies the principles of what it means to fight as a team. Not just multiple people attacking the same target, or even a you hit them high, I hit them low strategy, but they adopt moves where their techniques are almost completely enmeshed, moving beyond adding to the collective power in favor of multiplying it. But Reaper, Ino Shikacho has been going on for generations. It only makes sense that they would be the best team. Credit where it's due, hecklers. I do believe the multi-generational foundation of Ino Shikacho plays a big role in them being such a great. They have a monument commemorating the three clans' unity located right in the village, and their traditions of matching earrings is very cool, something I think the other teams would do well to emulate on some level. Symbols of unity can be very powerful inclinations of connectedness, like matching uniforms, tattoos, or even wedding rings. But I do believe looking at history will only get you half of the picture, because it's not just about old traditions, it's about starting new ones. And if we actually do want to see the full picture, then we're going to have to include the man, the myth, the legend, Asuma Sarutobi. Asuma is one of the best senseis in Naruto, and I think that following his example is a big factor in what makes Team 10 so great. Asuma spends a lot of downtime with his team. After every successful mission and commemorative event, he takes the team out for barbecue. This simple act of consistently sharing a meal together encourages them to spend time with each other, even when not on the job, and we see it's something that the trio continue to do long after Asuma is gone. Even though he can't teach them their clan-specific jutsus, Asuma trains his 3 students meticulously. We can see that their teamwork is really good, great even. But Asuma isn't satisfied with great. He keeps pushing them, convinced that they can do even better. he demands nothing short of perfection. That's why even though the trio is forced into a heartbreaking encounter when they have to come face to face with Asuma's Eero Tensei, part of them is thankful that they get to show Asuma the result of their diligent training, and they get a real sense of closure and accomplishment when he declares that their technique is perfect. It's a well-known fact that most senseis in Naruto are guilty of some form of favoritism, and Asuma is no exception, as we see him spending extensive time focused on Shikamaru. But in Reaper's opinion, this bias seems to make a little more sense in Shikamaru's case. With Shikamaru being the first of the three to be promoted, it makes sense that Asuma spends extra time with him preparing him for the burdens of leadership. But even before that, Shikamaru's lazy confidence probably called for a lot more direct supervision to make sure he wasn't constantly slacking off. And it was because of Asuma's dedication to finding the most appropriate avenue to bring out Shikamaru's potential that he discovered that Shikamaru wasn't just brilliant, he was a genius. But even with all the extra attention he gives Shikamaru, he doesn't neglect his other two students, and I believe his final words to Ino and Choji indicate just how well he knows and understands them on a personal level. To Ino, he praises her confidence and her dependability, and lets her know that her strengths are what helps keep her teammates in line. Interestingly enough, he charges Ino not to lose to Sakura, whether it be as a ninja or in love. What's most telling about this is he knows that she and Sakura are not just rivals, but rivals in love, which means it's something that they've probably talked about in a serious capacity, enough for him to believe it's worth mentioning now, reinforcing once more that they don't just have a surface level relationship, that they actually share a bond where Ino's comfortable talking about her goals, feelings, frustrations, and aspirations with Asuma. With Choji, Asuma regards his great belief in Choji's potential, and then there's his statement about Choji losing weight, which can be somewhat controversial, especially considering he's an Akamichi, as this could lead to performance issues. Well, allow Reaper to explain. Asuma realized early on, Choji is incredibly strong, much stronger than Choji gives himself credit for. In spite of this, Asuma expressed more concern about Choji's future as a ninja than any of his other students. This was primarily because Choji is something of a gentle giant, and Asuma worries that his kind nature and natural aversion to conflict might be an obstacle to his success as a ninja. Even more than this, Choji is very sensitive and lacks self-confidence. This is especially apparent when people comment about his weight. This is a hurdle every Akamichi clan ninja must come to terms with, as they need those extra calories to perform their signature jutsu. And I really think the idea here is if Choji is able to gain just a little more confidence in his self-image, then he can release those mental shackles he puts on himself. Sure enough, during the war arc, when Choji stops doubting himself, he gains such an unbelievable surge of power, he tells the others to clear out because he thinks he has enough power to end the whole battle by himself. Looking at some of these instances in isolation might make them seem relatively minor, but it's often a collection of the little things that make the biggest impact. And looking at how much of an anomaly Team 10 is, when compared to other teams in Naruto, it's hard to deny that fact. With Team 7, the main focus of the show, we see that they rarely communicate outside of missions, and often their near constant infighting makes it hard for them to be supportive of each other. When Sasuke does something impressive, Naruto immediately tries to one-up him. When Naruto shows improvement, both Sasuke and Sakura get insecure. When Sakura and Naruto request extra training, albeit for alternative reasons, they're both turned down harshly. I mean, they do work together, and have proven they can accomplish impressive things even without a united front. But oftentimes they operate more like co-workers than they do as teammates that have a lifelong bond. This is something that we did mention in our analysis on Sakura. It seemed kind of strange that Naruto would return home from a 2.5-year absence. Then after exchanging pleasantries and setting up work-related stuff, he was just kind of left alone. His supposed best friend and his teacher couldn't even indulge him for a bowl of ramen. And yeah, Kakashi is one of Reaper's favorite characters, but I can't let him slide on this. While Naruto is desperately trying to pull the team together, Kakashi is off somewhere living his best life. Like most sensei, Kakashi picked his favorite, which was Sasuke. And like Asuma, Kakashi does have an excuse for this, as they're both Sharingan wielders, and Sasuke shows proficiency with chakra and nature change to lightning, which makes sense to capitalize on their shared traits. I'll even give him a partial pardon on Sasuke and Naruto, since they were both out of the village for so long. But there's absolutely no excuse for how he treated Sakura. Sakura is in the village the whole time. She's just a body flicker away, and he didn't even try to act like he was her sensei. But Reaper, Sakura was already being trained by Tsunade. Sakura didn't spend every waking moment with Tsunade, so that's no excuse. In fact, it makes it even worse. Tsunade is a whole Hokage, and she still managed to set aside time to train one mere genin upon her request. Kakashi is her assigned teacher. His star pupil's gone AWOL, and his far second is training with someone else, and he couldn't spare time to teach his last remaining student one little genjutsu? Nah. But it's even worse than that. It seems Kakashi didn't even check on Sakura at all. Her crush and her best friend leave town under less than pleasant circumstances, and instead of checking if Sakura's okay, Kakashi is twiddling his thumbs waiting for the next installment in the Makeout series. When Naruto comes back after the 2+ year training journey, Kakashi doesn't act like he's kept up with Sakura at all. There's no inside jokes with the two of them saying, "Oh right, we forgot you weren't here for that mission, Naruto," or "Oh yeah, there was that crazy fad in the village last year, we should catch you up on that." Even when they're sparring, Kakashi is just as surprised by Sakura as he is by Naruto, saying they both grown so much in the past 2 years. He really had no interest in what Sakura was doing at all. But most telling of all, on more than one occasion, Kakashi makes casual remarks about Sasuke, sparking various emotional reactions in the two. Sometimes he's completely oblivious, wondering what he said to offend them, and other times he's like, "Oh yeah, I forgot, that guy means something to you too." But let's move away from Team 7 for a bit. We can't do a whole video about how Team 10 is the worst team.
Well, we can, but I don't want to.
Other teams are a little better when comparing them to Team 7, but still fall far short of a true one-for-all team. Like how Hinata openly and shamelessly rooted against her own teammate in his match against Naruto, or how Shino often feels left out in his own team. And speaking of Shino, why was Naruto the one promising vengeance for Hinata? Did Shino really have no issue with watching his teammate getting beat? Neji's one thing, but why didn't we ever see Sakura run into Tenten when she went to deliver flowers to Lee? Even after half a decade, Neji can still barely bring himself to participate in a team huddle with his team. Clearly there are a lot more, but you get the idea. The last we'll say on this is oftentimes when these characters pop up in the village, you'll see them wandering around by themselves, doing their own thing. And with Team 10, it's the exact opposite. Occasionally they'll show up by themselves, like when Ino's working at the flower shop, or when Shikamaru's attending to his extra tuning duties. But more often than not, they show up in pairs or as a full trio, showing just how much time they spend together even when they're not on the clock. And though they do bicker sometimes, as all good friends do, it's all surface level stuff. It never gets to the point where it prevents them from supporting each other. Even though Ino is bossy, assertive, and likes to be the center of attention, when Shikamaru becomes a Chunin, Ino's really proud of him, and takes a few steps back to allow him to lead. And even during his tuning exam match, Ino's cheering her heart out for him, easily the loudest and most enthusiastic person in the crowd. When Choji's hospitalized after the Sasuke retrieval mission, Ino waits for hours in the hospital with Choji's dad until he's in the clear. When Shikamaru's doubtful that the Hokage's decision to promote him over someone like Neji or Sasuke, Choji reassures Shikamaru that he believes he's way more amazing than them, and that he thinks the Hokage made the right choice. When Ino's in tears because of the impending kill order on Sasuke, Choji's there to comfort her. And Reaper's not saying that there aren't times that the other teams don't want to be there for each other like this. But just imagine Naruto trying to hold Sakura when she's crying. He'd probably get punched. Heck, he got punched for trying to save her life. Furthermore, Naruto expressed to Sai that there are times he doesn't feel like he can be completely honest with his feelings for Sakura because of the burden of the promise he made to her. In Sakura's case, it's somewhat similar. She does express to Yamato that she wishes she could be there for Naruto in a substantial way, but consistently fails to do so. She didn't say a word to Naruto when he was grieving Jiraiya's death. Sasuke tried to kill each of his teammates separately, and Kakashi just let it all happen.
We were limiting Team 7 focus.
Oh, right. When Asuma dies, Team 10 doesn't even need to discuss the situation to know that they're all on the same page. It's just, we going today or tomorrow. And even though they were most certainly charging into their own debts without the aid of Kakashi, the point Reaper's trying to make is that their love for their sensei is so great and their bonds with each other are so strong that even without holding a discussion, they know each one of them is willing to circumvent village authority and put their lives on the line in order to avenge their sensei. There's no point in the series where one of them is going through a struggle and the others aren't close behind to support them. They may not be the most powerful team, they may not get the most screen time, and maybe they won't top the charts of the most popular characters. But whether you're looking at techniques in battle, emotional support, or togetherness in general, Team 10 stands heads and shoulders above the rest. And it's because of that I think it's pretty clear that Team 10 is the best team in Naruto. So, that's our analysis, but what are your thoughts? Do you believe Team 10 is the best team? Or do you think another team deserves the crown? Let us know in the comment section. We look forward to reading it. And while you're down there, we appreciate you liking the video if you enjoyed it. It does a lot to promote our channel's growth. And with that, I believe it's time to bring this video to a close. My name is D Reaper, and I'm a YouTuber for fun. Today's challenge? Be a team player. Good luck, and we'll be seeing you all in the next one.